Hey there, Stephanie here. The purpose of this video is to start diving into stage one of the UbD template where we talk about different types of learning goals. So just to kind of overview some of the bigger concepts of UbD, you might remember from previous professional learning that the two big concepts underpinning understanding by design are teaching to understanding, so that students make meaning, can make inferences, make generalizations, and truly understand the content that they're learning in your units. And then the second big idea is this idea of backward design, where we first determine the desired results or the learning goals that we want students to learn. Then we shift into determining what acceptable evidence might we collect to ensure that students have met the learning goals that we planned. And then finally, the third stage is planning learning experiences. So how might we teach students effectively so they're prepared to prove their knowledge, skill, understanding, and transfer through acceptable evidence? And then also, really, are they able to meet those learning goals that we have planned? So, like I mentioned before, we're going to be diving into stage one, and that is identifying desired results or creating our learning goals. So, some questions we're going to ask ourselves are, what does transfer look like? How will we create transfer goals so students can apply their learning in new contexts? What do we want students to understand during the course of the unit? What knowledge and skills might we explicitly teach? And then finally, what standards might all of these goals be based on? So, the benefit of planning our desired results first is when students ask, why are we learning this? Which I've had students ask me that before. I'm assuming many of you have as well. It's a little bit easier for us to respond with this. We're learning this to grasp the significance of what is learned, why it's taught, and to apply the learning in the future. That really connects with that idea of teaching so students understand. We really want kids to be able to understand the significance of why they're learning what they're learning, why we're teaching it. And that idea of transfer. How can we apply this learning down the line, whether it's in another course or later on within our own courses, or like ideally in the future when they leave our classes, whether it's like outside of school or like even when they leave Novi Community School District. So it's a little bit easier for us because we've intentionally planned for all of those things. So we're going to talk a little bit about understanding goals in just a second, but two questions that are really helpful when we're thinking about both understanding and transfer is, if you know what knowledge you want to teach students, what do you want students to understand about it? And also, if we know what skills we want to teach students, what understandings will enable students to apply them wisely? And so kind of keeping those questions in the back of your mind. I know for me, when I first started teaching, it was a lot easier for me to teach to knowledge and skill. But asking myself those questions really helped me get into the mindset of like, what do I want students to understand from my units? So I'm going to stop this video here. When you go to the next video, we'll start diving into the different types of goals that we plan in stage one of the UbD template.